Today I am going to introduce myself. I am Sri Duryodhan, ex-principal of GPR College, Kuntara district, Sambalpur, state Odisha. Now I am going to teach you an interesting story called Stooping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. This interesting poem has been written by Robert Frost, a great American poet. Introducing the author, Robert Lee Frost is one of the most popular and critically acclaimed American poets. He is highly regarded for his realistic depiction of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. His poetry reveals a keen interest in the varying beauties of nature and the apparently small but deeply meaningful joys and sorrows of ordinary men and women. Warm up. Do you know this poem was a great favorite of Jawaharlal Nehru? Perhaps this poem reminded him of his responsibilities. On the surface, this is a simple poem. The speaker stops his horse by some woods on a snowy evening. He takes in the lovely scene in near silence, is tempted to stay longer, but acknowledges the pull of obligation and the considerable distance yet to be travelled before he can rest for the night. But at the deeper level, the journey through the woods is suggestive of journey through life itself. The speaker stops for a brief time to meditate and realizes that he needs to continue his journey. The famous phrase "and miles to go before I sleep" not only refers to the physical distance of the trip but also the long life ahead of him. Read the poem and feel how inspiring it is. Text. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods below with snow. That means the speaker does not know that who is the owner of the woods. He also does not know where the owner of the house of the village lives. Only he knows that the owner of the house will not see the author or the speaker stopping on the snowy evening on the road. He also does not know how to wash his horse fill up with snow. That means how the woods are covered with flakes of snow falling from the clouds of the heaven. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near between the woods and the frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. In other words, the speaker wants to say that his little horse must think it is strange. That means little does not mean small in size of the horse, but little means dear or endearment. He loves his horse very much. So it is a very strange matter why the little horse stopped suddenly on the road without a farmhouse nearby. Anyhow, the woods as well as the lake were frozen, and it was the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flag. In other words, the poet wants to say that he gives his harness, that means the material which are on the back of the horse, and some bells are also tied to shake it. And he wanted to ask if there was some mistake. There was only one sound, that is the sweeping sound of the wind, which was blowing very smoothly and gently. And downy flakes of snow or pieces of flakes of snow were falling from the clouds of the sky. The woods are lovely dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. That means the speaker wants to say that the woods are very beautiful, dark, deep, and dense. But while saying this, the speaker says that he has to make some promises. In other words, he has to perform or finish some of his duties and responsibility when he will reach home. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep means physically he has to go to his house before night. In other words, he wants to say that he is nearing the graveyard or tomb. When we are going to near the graveyard or tomb, that means we are going to embrace death. Thank you. Thanking you.